The laptop hit the pool with a loud splash, halting the celebration in an instant. My niece, Emma, stood confidently at the pool's edge, her designer gown glittering under the party lights I'd paid for. That smug expression on her face? It was the exact same one her mother, my sister Kate, had worn all her life. "Oops, Uncle Jack," she said, her voice sugary sweet. "Actually, not oops. I asked for a MacBook Pro, not some budget gaming junk." Budget. That word stung. The so-called junk was a $5,000 custom-built gaming laptop. I'd spent weeks researching and assembling the perfect specs, knowing how much she loved to stream. Now it was sinking to the bottom of their luxury pool. Around us, 50 teenagers and their well-dressed parents exchanged glances, chuckles barely concealed. Some didn't even bother hiding their amusement. Kate took a lazy sip of champagne and rolled her eyes. "Emma, sweetheart, try to be polite. Your uncle does what he can with what he has." "What I have." Curious phrasing, especially from someone whose entire life floated on the back of my generosity. "It's fine," I said, voice quiet, as I watched the last few bubbles rise from the drowned machine. "Just money, right?" "Exactly." Emma lit up, already turning away. "Mom's getting me the right one tomorrow anyway. Just charge it to Uncle Jack's usual card." "Right, Mom." Kate nodded without even looking up, already deep in a conversation about her upcoming Aspen vacation, another trip destined to mysteriously land on my corporate statement. I stood alone, invisible, despite financing every inch of this Sweet 16 spectacle. A one-night event that cost over $50,000. Custom lighting rigs, a professional DJ, gourmet catering, hand-picked decor, and of course, the newly renovated pool house Kate had insisted was non-negotiable. My phone buzzed. A bank alert. Suspicious activity. $12,000 spent at the Apple Store. They hadn't even waited for the laptop to finish syncing. I walked to the bar, top shelf of course, because Kate said her guests wouldn't tolerate anything less. The bartender saw me coming and poured the good scotch without needing to ask. I'd tipped him generously earlier. "Quite the bash," he said, glancing toward the chocolate fountain where Emma and her friends posed for selfies. "Quite the waste," I muttered, pulling out my phone. I scrolled through 7 years of financial damage. The mansion's mortgage, private school fees, sports cars, designer shopping, tropical vacations, endless remodels, each transaction tied directly to my accounts. But there was something they didn't know about. My second phone. That one held digital records, every transaction, every falsified ledger from Kate's investment firm. $2 million siphoned from clients, funneled through a labyrinth of offshore accounts. She thought she'd buried the trail. She hadn't. "Uncle Jack." Emma's voice snapped me out of it. "We're out of ice. The good kind, from that boutique place." I looked at her. Really looked. 16 years old. Entitled. Already fluent in her mother's language of casual cruelty. Just like Kate used to be, before wealth and power turned her into something far worse. "I'll handle it," I said, draining my glass. "And I would, everything." Once inside my car, shielded from the thumping bass and fake laughter, I made a call. Not to the premium ice supplier Kate adored. This call was to a man who'd been waiting months for it. "Mr. Sullivan," I said. "It's Jack Morton. About the evidence." "I'm ready." The SDC investigator's voice was calm and deliberate. "Are you certain? Once this starts." "My niece just threw a $5,000 laptop into a pool because it wasn't expensive enough," I said, watching her laugh and film the wreckage with her friends. "I've never been more certain. We'll need everything. Documents, transfers, the whole paper trail." "It's already in your inbox," I said. "Every file, every account. 7 years of deceit." There was a pause. "You realize this will ruin them." Across the yard, Kate raised her glass in another toast. Probably tacking on another couple thousand to my bill. "I know," I said. "And I'm fine with it." The call ended. I sat quietly in the car, feeling the party's vibrations hum through the night air. By morning, federal agents would swarm the estate. Kate's empire, built on embezzled funds and my blind generosity, was about to collapse. But I had one last thing to do. I dialed my bank. "This is Jack Morton. I need all linked accounts frozen." "Yes, every single one." "Immediately." Outside, The party lights shimmered across the pool surface, casting shifting patterns on my windshield. Somewhere beneath that water, a $5,000 laptop lay ruined, silent, like the future awaiting them. The music raged on, unaware. Then it began. Declined. Kate's voice cut sharply across the lawn. She stood by the caterer, card in hand. That can't be right. Try it again. Another beep. Same result. Uncle Jack. Emma's high-pitched voice pierced the night. The dominoes were falling. My Uber Eats isn't working. Your card's getting declined. I remained where I was, seated near the pool, watching the unraveling like a perfectly timed performance. One by one, their financial lifelines flickered and died. Kate's phone started buzzing with alerts. The blush from her champagne began to drain, replaced by a creeping pallor. She politely excused herself and marched across the marble patio, heels clicking in urgency. Jack. Her tone was sharp, panic carefully disguised beneath forced composure. Something's wrong. Every account, it's like they've all been shut off. I didn't lift my gaze from the screen in my hand. Fix it, she ordered. Not a plea. A demand. Just like the hundreds I'd heard over the past 7 years, like when she corrected those client accounts at Morton Investment. I fixed it, I replied, voice quiet, measured. Just like you did with the firm's books. The blood drained from her face. What are you implying? $2 million, Kate. You didn't think I'd notice? I kept my voice low. The name on the company is our name. She gripped my arm, nails perfectly manicured but digging in with desperation. Lower your voice, she hissed. This isn't the place for this. Actually, it's the perfect place. I turned my phone screen toward her, an email confirmation from the SEC. Everything was sent. The transfers. The fake accounts. Every fabricated figure and lie she ever told. You sent it, she whispered, though we both knew the answer. I'm your brother, I said. And that's my laptop at the bottom of your pool. All around us, the celebration carried on, unaware of the storm brewing in its center. Emma and her friends were still smiling for photos, capturing the last minutes of their unbothered youth. Their phones worked, for now. Kate's husband, Tom, approached, his usual smooth veneer starting to crack. All the cards, he said, his voice low and strained. None of them work. Even the backups. Jack's just throwing one of his fits, Kate replied quickly, trying to downplay the panic. He'll fix it. He always does. Not this time, I said, standing. The SEC office opens at 9. I wonder who gets cuffed first, Kate for embezzlement, or you for money laundering. Tom froze, confusion giving way to fear. Kate, what the hell is he talking about? He's lying, she snapped. Jack, enough. Whatever you're trying to pull. I laughed, loud enough to turn heads. You mean like the scam where you siphoned from clients, or the one where I financed your high life while you sneered behind my back? Mom? Emma appeared beside us, holding her phone like a lifeline. Why isn't anything working? Kate's carefully curated mask slipped for a second. Nothing, sweetie. Your uncle's just acting out. No, Emma, I said calmly. I'm just telling the truth, for the first time in years. Just then, 2 suited security guards approached. The ones Kate insisted on hiring, of course, the elite type. Ma'am, one said, politely but firmly. Payment for our services was declined. Kate blinked in disbelief. That's absurd. We have money. Had, I corrected. That's past tense. The illusion was disintegrating. Parents began pulling out their phones, checking balances, reading headlines, connecting dots. Their ties to Morton Investment, once a mark of prestige, now a ticking time bomb. Murmurs turned to whispers, then spread like a virus through the party. You're destroying everything, Kate hissed at me. No, I said quietly. You did that. I'm just flipping on the lights. Emma turned in circles, watching the party she had dreamed about collapse around her. Why are people leaving? She asked, but Kate was already gone, rushing into the house, probably trying to move funds, delete emails, call favors. Too late. Everything was locked. Traced. Submitted. Tom followed, face like ash, leaving Emma alone with me. Uncle Jack. Her voice was barely above a whisper now. The arrogance had drained away. What's happening? I looked at her, really looked. 16. Spoiled, yes, but not beyond hope. Remember that laptop? I asked, nodding toward the pool. The one you destroyed because it wasn't good enough? She glanced at the water, face paling. That's what your mom's been doing with people's lives, I said. Throwing them away. Their savings, their futures. None of it was ever enough for her. But we have money, she stammered, clinging to the last illusion. No, Emma. I had money. Your mother had schemes. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. A message from the SEC. Teams are ready. Launching at dawn. I stood. The party's over. Wait, she called as I started walking. Where are you going? Home, I said, then paused. And Emma? That laptop you tossed away? By morning, it'll be worth more than this house. I left her standing there, next to the glowing blue water where it all ended, surrounded by the debris of her mother's lies and her own entitlement. Inside the mansion, I could hear Kate's voice echoing through the stone halls, shrill, desperate. Get the lawyers. Call someone. Fix it. But some things can't be fixed. And some things shouldn't be. By morning, the empire they'd built on deceit had fallen to dust. I sat in my home office, coffee in hand, watching the morning news scroll across the screen. The headlines were relentless. Morton investment scandal. Elite family under investigation for $2 million fraud. Federal agents raid estate at sunrise. Aerial footage showed black SUVs crowding the estate's long driveway. Red and blue lights reflected off the mansion's towering windows. My phone buzzed beside me, 148 missed calls. Kate, Tom. Their attorneys. Even Emma. Everyone had something to say. I listened to just one voicemail. Kate's voice, sharp and venomous. You've destroyed us, Jack. Your own family. I hope you're proud, you bitter, jealous. I deleted it before she could finish. Then came the doorbell. On the security monitor, Emma stood there in her wrinkled party dress from the night before. Mascara ran down her face in black streaks. Against better judgment, I opened the door. They took Mom, she whispered, stumbling in and collapsing onto my couch. In handcuffs. In front of everyone. Dad too. I nodded, watching her closely. Actions have consequences. But, what about me? Her voice trembled. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? The spoiled teenager was gone. What remained was just a frightened girl. I already called your grandparents in Ohio, I said. They'll take you in while this plays out. Ohio! Her face contorted in disbelief. But, my friends, my school, my whole life is here. Just like that laptop you tossed into the pool, I said quietly. She flinched. I'm sorry about that, she mumbled. You were just being what your mother taught you to be, I said. But here's the thing, Emma, you're 16. You still get to decide who you become. Her phone buzzed again, now downgraded to her grandmother's basic carrier plan. Social media was melting down, former friends posting, distancing themselves, pretending they'd always suspected something. Her perfect world was disintegrating post by post. Why would she do this? She whispered. We already had everything. No, I said gently. You had what belonged to everyone else. That's not the same. I handed her a folder, simplified documents showing what Kate had done, how she stole from clients, laundered money through my name, used me to keep the illusion alive. The cars, the designer clothes, the beach houses, it was all built on stolen trust. All those vacations, Emma said slowly. They weren't ours, were they? No, I said. They were paid for with lies. She stared at the floor, quiet for a long moment. Then, will they go to prison? Yes, I said. No hesitation. Silence again. What about me? She finally asked. I handed her a plane ticket. You get something they don't, I said. A second chance. Don't waste it. After she left, I walked through my quiet house. The silence felt different now. Like space I could finally breathe in. 7 years of weight had lifted. My phone buzzed again. A message from the SEC contact. Kate's trying to cut a deal. Says you were in on it. I smiled. Let her. I had 7 years of receipts proving otherwise. By nightfall, the story had exploded across every network and news site. Kate and Tom, booked, held without bail. Their accounts frozen. The mansion seized. Former friends gave tearful interviews, pretending they'd always had doubts. The same ones who toasted champagne at Emma's party now claimed innocence and outrage. Then one final message. Likely from a borrowed phone. Hope you're happy. You've torn your own family apart. Kate. I replied. No, Kate. I just stopped letting family tear me apart. 3 months passed. One afternoon, a letter arrived. From Ohio. It was from Emma. She'd gotten a part-time job. Was adjusting to her new school. Learning how to earn things instead of having them handed to her. At the bottom, a final line. I found a laptop like the one I threw in the pool. I've been saving for it. This time, I'll take care of it. I smiled. I didn't write back. Some lessons don't need a reply. Kate and Tom eventually took plea deals. Everything they'd built was liquidated, used to repay those they defrauded. My name was cleared. My record clean. The only thing I lost was the burden of propping up their lies. Sometimes at night, I think about that laptop sinking slowly in the pool, how that simple, careless act finally snapped me out of my loyalty. How the most expensive things in our lives aren't cars or houses, but illusions. And sometimes, the best investment you can ever make is in walking away. Freedom, after all, is something no one can throw away.